Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Eddie Murphy!
I believe the children are future. Just not just so proud. And put by my reckless words. I wanna make you that to be loved, to be loved, to be loved. She's a queen to be.
We're a big fan of you over here. Gosh, I'm so happy to meet you right now.
Yeah, good to meet you too, man.
Yeah. Don't get too excited now. Yeah. Last time, when was the last time you were here in 30 Rock? Your career took off here in 30 Rock.
And, you know, I didn't even realize I was in 30 Rock till 5 seconds ago. The guy said, "How long has it been since you've been here?" And I was like, "Well, what building are we in?" I was talking to somebody. We came in the garage. I didn't know where I was till I got upstairs. And I haven't been in this building in 25 years.
Is that right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Welcome back. I mean, I'm a biggest fan of yours. I remember like I recite anything you ever did on Saturday Night Live, and like you made me want to be a comedian, you know. And I have this thing. Well, still, please. I had this thing up hanging in my office because this is in my office upstairs. Do you remember this at all?
Yeah, that was when Nick canceled and I had to fill in as host.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Back in the day at Saturday Night Live, they didn't have like computer graphics to show the bumpers that come in and out, so they had to film a photograph of whoever's hosting the show. And Nick Nolte was hosting the show.
Yeah.
And that week, and then I heard that something happened.
Yeah, he got, you know.
Yeah.
I had to fill in because I was in the movie too, so I filled in.
So you're in the movie too, so they just took, Eddie Murphy was on the cast at the time, so they just cut your headshot out and glued it to Nick Nolte's face. Yeah. I mean, look at that.
That's how long ago it was.
I mean, the original it's hanging in my office, and if you want it, you could have the original, of course, as you if you want it. But maybe that must have been crazy though. I mean, when you as a cast member, did you look at it that way? Cast member gonna host?
We were having fun. You know what it's like on that show, and you ready to go with whatever comes up, you know. So I was having fun.
But you were like, I got to be on Nick's sketches. Like this is crazy.
No, what happened was Nick canceled on like Monday.
Like, so you had all week.
He came in, we had the cast meeting, we met with the host and everything.
Yeah.
And then afterwards it was like, "Hey, I'm not coming." So we had to, you know, from Tuesday on, we was, you know, knew Nick wasn't coming. It wasn't like we got a bunch of sketches written.
Was the cast mad?
Nah, you know how it is. Even mad.
Mad was they hated you. It was like, wait, why can't I host?
Nah, it was like, oh, he's not coming, and then it was like, hey, let Eddie host. And you know what made them mad? I didn't say live from New York. It's Saturday night. I said live from New York. It's the Eddie Murphy Show.
Oh my God!
It was crazy. It was crazy. It was meetings. People were having meetings in the hallway, crying and stuff. It was crazy.
How dare he? But it's live and that's fun. It's like, but I mean, you hit home runs on that show.
Yeah, you too, man.
I mean, oh no, please, thanks so much. I mean, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. I'm just gonna go real quick. Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. I used to imitate Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood because that's even the songs. Won't you be my neighbor?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was so good. Buckwheat sings. Here's why I love Buckwheat. I know, and this is a true story because my other favorite thing was when Buckwheat got shot.
Yeah.
I think that was brilliant.
That's one of my favorite things. Me, Barry, and David wrote that because I got tired of doing it because I would be outside. You did Buckwheat, and people start on the street going, "Hey, what's up, Buckwheat?" Hey, we're gonna have to kill Buckwheat because I'm not gonna be Buckwheat, so he killed them all. And one dude called me Buckwheat, and I was like, "Hey, man," I said, "Hey, I look like Buckwheat," and the dude looked me in the eye and said, "Man, you look like Buckwheat to me all my life." He was like crestfallen that I was mad. I was like, whoa.
So you went in, Dick Ebersol, he said, "I got to kill Buckwheat"?
I had to kill Buckwheat. Because that was back in the day, you know, where, you know, you could wind up really being called Buckwheat forever.
No, do you get worried about that stuff? Because you get one catchphrase and everyone's going like...
back in the day, you know, if you do one show, you're that character forever.
Yeah, Kramer's always going to be Kramer. That's the way he's going to be. He'd come out with something where he's a detective. You're like, he's a detective, but that's Kramer. You know, it's hard to do that stuff. James Brown celebrity hot tub party. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just insane. I mean, that's like, you hear how loud the audience response is, and I know those things when you're at SNL. I've seen it like happen twice, maybe like that when it's that electric and it's like, oh my gosh, how fun that was. Like, you know, well. But I mean, James Brown. I mean, come on. Well, who thought of celebrity hot tub? Why would he be in a hot tub?
I actually didn't think that was funny till we did it. Barry Blaustein and David Sheffield, who wrote Coming to America with me and Boomerang and Nutty Professor. A lot of the stuff on Saturday Night Live, that really classic stuff, those guys wrote that. And that was one of those things that I didn't get till we did it.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weird sketch. It's like, why would James Brown get in a hot tub?
I didn't get it back then. I was like, you know, I think it was urban-induced sketch. I think they was like, you know, if he was James Brown in a hot tub. And when I heard that, I was like, James Brown in a hot tub? And they was like, no, listen, if James Brown in a hot tub, that'd be some funny.
What if you ever saw James Brown in a hot tub? That'd be weird, right?
Yeah, and I did. And back then, I hadn't smoked the joint, so I didn't get the joke. And
then you figured it out. And James ever call you on it?
James Brown actually loved it. James Brown actually told me, I did this horrendous film once. He did a cameo in it. A movie called Holy Man. It wasn't that bad, but it was pretty bad. And I saw him backstage. He told me, you should do my life story. And I was like, well, I said, people would be laughing. He said, no. He said, because they'd be laughing if you was playing around. But if you're serious, people would take it serious. He said, yeah, because you got all that in-between stuff. Whatever that.
That's pretty good.
He said all that in-between stuff.
I met him once.
And I think he meant all the hat and the hood and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to get all that stuff, yeah. I met him once and they said, oh, Jimmy, when Mr. James Brown comes, Mr. James Brown's flying.
Brown.
They told me Mr. James Brown.
James Brown.
They said, don't call him James, don't call him Mr. Brown. Don't call him
Mr. James Brown.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him Jimmy. You know, I mean, like, why would I do that? You know, I'm not crazy. So I said, okay, and now I'm so nervous to meet James Brown. Then I meet James Brown, and I'm like, hello, Mr. James Brown. And he goes, call me James. Call me James. Like, oh my gosh. Like, he's just that cool right back there.
He told me to bury my money in the woods.
That's so weird one back then. That makes no sense.
I went to go see him, and he was backstage. He had curls in his head, and he said, turn around, I said, Eddie Murphy. He said, when you gonna start working clean? And I said, what? He said, you gotta stop doing all that cursing, you know, and you gotta make sure you get your money, any money you got, and bury it in the woods. And I was like, why it's buried in the woods? I said, because the government gonna take your money if you have in the bank. The government will take your money.
Buried in the
you a piece of land, you bury that money in the woods.
Oh my God.
And I said, but can't the government take your land? And he said, well, they won't know where the money is.
Financial advice from James Brown.
And then for years, I would picture, you know, James driving around down south with his money in the woods in different places. Pull the car over. You know?
Give me the shovel.
Give me the shovel. Right? He'd come back with some dirty 20s.
I know everyone always asks you, gosh, Eddie Murphy, gonna do stand-up again? You're gonna do stand-up again? I mean, is it because you're nervous? Is it because you don't want to do it?
I'm not nervous. You know what it is?
Why would think you'd be nervous?
Well, it takes a year and a half to a year to get an act, and I just, you know, more lazy than nervous.
Yeah. You could do it.
Yes, but it takes a year and a half of going to the club just like the old days. You got to go back all the way to the beginning and do it like you never did it before to get an act.
But does the audience, they expect that, oh my gosh, it's Eddie Murphy, everything's gonna be funny.
Yeah, and you got to go up there and go through all of that, you know, have people expecting it to be, you know, something funny and it don't be for a little while.
And then they go,
he's not funny.
Yeah, I'm not laughing at that.
That would be much funny.
I mean, but then, and then why the awesome outfits? Look at that.
Come on, man.
That's good, though. Why do you do? Why? Because you just felt like that's your look, or you just want to make it? I remember those Eddie Murphy dolls.
Why did I do that?
Yeah.
I was on some Elvis trip back then. I was like,
yeah, you were a big Elvis
guy, right? Yeah, I was trying to be like the Elvis of comedy kind of thing.
Yeah.
With my leather suits on. And,
well, just come, I mean, if you have the comeback special, you got to wear the crazy, you got to wear the robe and everything. No, you won't do it. Yeah.
So if I would do stand-up again, I'll come out in a leather suit again. You come out. It's hysterical.
No, I mean, you wouldn't come out in a leather suit.
The suit was actually destroyed. Like Keenan Ivory Wayans destroyed this suit on the Dare. I dared. He found it in the closet, and he put it on, and Keenan's like 6'5". He was busting all out the suit and and we was laughing, and I said, hey, I dare you to go out without the suit. And he put on this. Remember on In Living Color, he used to do a character called Frenchie?
The Jerry
started out as a dare. He dressed up like Frenchie and went out. We was out from 11 to 6 in the morning. He never came out of character. And the next morning, the suit was all up.
Oh, my God. Frenchie. Yeah. Frenchie.
He never came out of character all night.
Hey, hey.